Welcome to AmdiVibes, where today we are telling the story of a man born on a small island that most people had never heard of. A man who spoke French with a foreign accent his entire life. Who was mocked at school, dismissed by his peers, written off as an outsider who would never truly belong, and who went on to conquer most of the known world. This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte. It is one of the greatest stories ever lived. The beginning, it is 1769. On the island of Corsica, a small, rugged island in the Mediterranean that had just been transferred from the Republic of Genoa to France, a boy is born to a minor noble family. His father, Carlo, is a lawyer. Not wealthy, not powerful. A man of modest means doing his best to give his children a future. His mother, Letizia, is something else entirely. Iron-willed, fierce, completely unbreakable. Napoleon will later say, with complete sincerity, that everything he became, he owed to his mother. The boy is named an Apoleone Italian, not Corsican. Not French. He is 9 years old when his father scrapes together enough money and connections to send him to a military school in France. He arrives speaking barely any French. The other boys mock his accent, mock his name, mock the island he comes from. He responds by working. While other boys play, Napoleon reads. Military history, mathematics, geography, that's strategy. He devours everything the library contains. He is not the most gifted student in the school, but he is the most relentless. He graduates. He becomes an artillery officer. A decent career for a provincial outsider with no money and no connections. Nobody is expecting anything more. They are about to be surprised. The revolution opens the door here at AmdiVibes. This is where history intervenes. In 1789, the French Revolution explodes. The old order collapses overnight. The aristocrats who ran the French army, who blocked promotion for anyone without the right bloodline, are gone. Dead, fled, or silent. For the first time in French history, talent can rise. Napoleon is watching, and Napoleon is ready. His first major opportunity comes in 1793 at the Siege of Toulon, a French port city held by royalist forces backed by the British Navy. Napoleon, a young artillery officer, proposes a bold strategy. Places his cannons in a position that forces the British ships to either fight or flee. They flee. Toulon falls. Napoleon is 24 years old. He is promoted to brigadier general overnight. The door is open, and Napoleon walks through it like a man who has been waiting his entire life for exactly this moment. Because he has. The campaign's what follows is one of the most extraordinary military careers in human history. In 1796, Napoleon is given command of the French army of Italy, a hungry, demoralized, poorly supplied force facing a coalition of Austrian and Piedmontese armies. He transforms them, not with better equipment, not with more men, with belief. He tells them they are about to march into the richest plains in the world. That glory and victory are waiting for them. That he will lead them there personally. And then he delivers. In a campaign of dazzling speed and improvisation, Napoleon defeats the Austrian and Piedmontese armies in a series of battles that stun Europe. He moves faster than anyone believes an army can move. He strikes before enemies can coordinate. He is everywhere at once. Within a year, he has forced Austria to the negotiating table. He is 27 years old, and all of Europe knows his name. He goes to Egypt. He wins battles in the shadow of the pyramids. He comes back to France. He stages a coup. And in 1804, at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, he takes the crown from the Pope's hands and crowns himself Emperor of the French, a shoemaker's son from Corsica, Emperor of the most powerful nation in Europe. The peak at his peak, Napoleon controls more of Europe than anyone since the Roman Empire, France. He leads Spain, The Netherlands. Large parts of Germany and Poland. Client states and allied kingdoms stretching from Portugal to the borders of Russia. He is not just a conqueror. He is a builder. The Napoleonic Code, the legal system he creates, becomes the foundation of law in France, Belgium, Italy, Spain, and dozens of countries across the world, including Louisiana in the United States. It is still the basis of legal systems today. He builds roads, reorganizes education, creates the Bank of France, modernizes the entire French state from the ground up. He is simultaneously the greatest general and one of the most consequential administrators in European history. But the higher you climb, the further you can fall. The beginning of the end, Napoleon makes 3 mistakes that history will never let him forget. The first is Spain. In 1808, he places his brother on the Spanish throne. The Spanish people, proud, fierce, deeply nationalistic, refuse to accept it. They launch a guerrilla war that ties down hundreds of thousands of French soldiers for years. It bleeds the empire slowly, constantly, without mercy. The second is the continental system. Napoleon tries to destroy Britain economically by blocking all European trade with the island. It does not destroy Britain. It destroys the European economies that depend on British trade. It turns Napoleon's allies into reluctant enemies. The third mistake, the fatal one, is Russia. In 12, Napoleon marches 600,000 men into Russia, the largest army ever assembled in European history. He expects a quick campaign, a decisive battle. Russian submission. Russia does not submit. The Russians retreat, burning everything as they go, leaving Napoleon's army nothing to eat, nowhere to shelter, nothing to conquer. Napoleon reaches Moscow. The city is abandoned and burning. He waits for a peace offer that never comes. And then the Russian wind arrives. The retreat from Moscow is one of the greatest catastrophes in military history. Of 600,000 men who march into Russia, fewer than 100,000 make it out alive. The empire never recovers. The fall Europe smells blood. The coalition of nations that Napoleon has defeated over and over reassembles, larger, more determined, more coordinated than ever before. In 1813, Napoleon is defeated at the Battle of Leipzig, the largest battle in European history up to that point. He fights brilliantly. It is not enough. Paris falls. Napoleon abdicates. He is exiled to the island of Elba. Most men would accept it, would retire, would write their memoirs and grow old quietly. Napoleon escapes. He returns to France with a handful of men. The army sent to arrest him joins him instead. Within days, he is back in Paris, back in power. He has 100 days. And then Waterloo. On June 18th, 1815, Napoleon faces the British and Prussian armies on a muddy Belgian field. He is not the Napoleon of Austerlitz. He is sick, not tired. His marshals are exhausted. His army is undermanned, he loses. This time there is no escape. He is exiled to St. Helena, a tiny island in the South Atlantic, the most remote inhabited place on Earth, chosen specifically because there is nowhere to escape to. He dies there in 1821, 51 years old, alone, on a rock in the middle of the ocean. The lesson, so what does Napoleon's story teach us? It teaches us that talent without wisdom builds empires that destroy themselves. Napoleon was perhaps the most gifted leader in modern history. His intelligence, his energy, his ability to inspire men and see possibilities others could not imagine, these were genuine and extraordinary. But he confused his own genius with invincibility. He stopped listening, stopped adapting, kept reaching further and further until the reach exceeded the grasp. The second lesson is about the door. Napoleon did not create the French Revolution. He did not manufacture the opportunity that opened before him. What he did, with extraordinary discipline and relentless preparation, was be ready when the door opened. Most people are not ready when the door opens. They have not done the reading, have not built the skills, have not endured the mockery and the outsider status and the years of preparation that look like nothing from the outside. Napoleon had done all of it. When the moment came, he was ready. The final lesson is the most personal. A boy mocked for his accent, dismissed for his island, written off before he began. He did not argue with the people who dismissed him. He went back to his room and read military history until midnight, and then he went out and rewrote it. Here at AmdiVibes, we tell these stories because greatness does not announce itself in advance. It shows up in the quiet hours, in the preparation nobody sees, in the refusal to accept the ceiling other people have placed above you. If this story fired you up, share it with someone who needs it today. Subscribe to AmdiVibes for more stories that change how you see the world. We'll see you in the next one.